In a small village tucked between rolling hills and quiet fields of wheat, there lived an old man named Kareem. The village was peaceful, the kind of place where mornings began with birdsong and evenings ended with lanterns glowing softly in windows. People there lived simple lives, working in gardens, baking bread, and sharing stories beneath the shade of trees. Yet among all the villagers, Kareem was the one person everyone noticed, not because he was loud or important, but because of what he did every single night. When the sun slipped behind the hills and the sky darkened into deep blue, Kareem would step outside his little stone house, carrying a worn wooden stool. Slowly, carefully, he would walk to the edge of the village, where the fields opened wide and the sky felt endless. There he would sit beneath the stars, and he would begin to count them, one by one, patiently, night after night. The children of the village often watched him from a distance. Some giggled, some whispered, and some simply stared with curiosity. "Why does he count the stars?" they asked each other. "It must be magic," said one child. "He must be searching for something," said another. Some adults shook their heads kindly. "The old man is strange," they murmured. "Perhaps loneliness has made him do odd things." But Kareem never explained. He never seemed bothered by what others thought. He simply sat beneath the night sky, his face calm, his eyes reflecting starlight, and his lips moving silently as he counted. One evening, a young girl named Salma decided she could not wonder any longer without finding the answer. Salma was curious in the way that gentle hearts often are. She loved mysteries, but she also loved understanding. She believed that every unusual thing in the world carried a story inside it. So as the village grew quiet and Kareem made his way to the fields, Salma followed, careful not to disturb him. She watched as he placed his stool down and looked up. 78, 79, 80, he murmured softly. Salma stepped closer. "Excuse me," she said gently. Kareem paused. His eyes lowered from the sky, and he turned toward her. His face was lined with age, but his expression was warm. "Yes, child?" he asked. Salma hesitated. "I hope I'm not bothering you," she said. "You're not," Kareem replied. "The stars do not mind company." Salma sat down in the grass a few steps away. She tilted her head upward, staring at the sky scattered with countless lights. "Are you really counting them?" she asked. Kareem smiled. "I am," Salma blinked. "But there are too many." "Yes," Kareem said softly. "There are always too many." Salma frowned in confusion. "Then why do you do it?" Kareem looked back up at the heavens. For a long moment he did not answer. The night wind moved gently through the wheat, and the stars shimmered patiently above them. Finally Kareem spoke. "Because long ago," he said, "someone asked me to." Salma's eyes widened. "Who?" Kareem's smile faded into something quieter, something deeper. "My wife," he said. Salma's heart softened. She waited, sensing little more. Kareem took a slow breath. "When we were young," he began, "my wife and I would sit outside together every night. We did not have much, only a small home, a simple life, but we had the sky. And the sky was enough." Salma listened closely. "She loved the stars," Kareem continued. "She said they were like lanterns hung by the universe to remind us that darkness is never empty. Even on the hardest nights, she believed the stars were messages of hope." Salma looked up again, imagining Kareem and his wife sitting together long ago. "One night," Kareem said, "she laughed and told me, 'Kareem, if you ever feel lost, count the stars. Each one will remind you that there is always more light than you think.'" Salma swallowed gently. "And did you feel lost?" Kareem's eyes glimmered. "Yes," he whispered. when she was gone. Salma's chest tightened. "I'm sorry," she said softly. Kareem nodded. At first, after she passed, the nights felt unbearable. The darkness was too wide. The silence was too heavy. I did not know what to do with the space she left behind. He looked down at his hands. They trembled slightly, not with weakness, but with memory. Then one evening, he said, I remembered her words. I stepped outside, looked up, and began to count. Not because I believed I could finish, but because it gave me something gentle to hold on to. Salma sat quietly, the stars above her suddenly feeling more alive. Kareem smiled faintly. The first night, I counted only 20 before tears filled my eyes. The second night, 30. The third night, 50. And slowly the stars became my companions. Salma whispered, Do you count the same stars every night? Kareem chuckled softly. No, child. The sky is always changing. Some nights are clear, some cloudy. Some stars shine brighter, some hide. But that is part of it. Salma tilted her head. Part of what? Part of life, Kareem replied. Some light stays, some fades, some returns when you least expect it. Salma stared at him. So you're not really counting stars, she said slowly. You're remembering. Kareem's eyes warmed. Yes, he said. I am remembering, and I am healing. Salma sat with him for a while longer, watching the way the stars seemed to flicker like distant candles. Then she asked, Do you ever wish the counting would end? Kareem thought carefully. No, he said, because the counting is not about reaching a number. It is about the quiet moment in between. It is about sitting beneath something larger than myself and realizing that even grief has a place in the universe. Salma's voice was barely a whisper. That's beautiful, Kareem smiled. It is simply true. The next night, Salma returned. She brought a small blanket and sat beside Kareem without speaking. He nodded at her kindly, and together they looked up. 1, 2, 3, Kareem began. Salma listened. Then, softly, she joined in. 4, 5, 6. Kareem paused, surprised, then smiled. And so they counted together. Night after night, Salma came. Sometimes she spoke, sometimes she was silent. Sometimes she asked questions, and sometimes she simply listened. The villagers began to notice. The girl sits with Kareem now, they murmured. What are they doing? They are counting stars, the children whispered. But Salma understood it was more than that. One evening, Kareem pointed toward a cluster of stars. Do you see those? He asked. Salma nodded. Yes. My wife used to call them the traveller's lanterns, he said. She believed they guided wandering hearts home. Salma smiled softly. Do they guide you? Kareem looked up, his eyes shining. Yes, he said. They guide me back to peace. As the months passed, others began to join them. A young boy who felt lonely, a mother who missed her childhood, an old neighbour who carried quiet sadness. They sat at a respectful distance, looking up at the sky, letting the stars remind them that darkness was not empty. The field became a place of gentle gathering. No one shouted, no one hurried. They simply sat, breathing beneath the universe. One night, as Kareem counted, Salma noticed something different. His voice sounded lighter, less heavy. 78, 79, 80. Salma smiled. You sound happier, she said. Kareem chuckled. Perhaps I am. Do you still miss her? Salma asked carefully. Kareem's expression softened. Always, he said. But missing someone is not the same as being lost. The stars helped me understand that love does not disappear. It becomes part of the sky inside you. Salma felt warmth spread through her chest. That night, Kareem did not count for as long. Instead, he sat quietly watching. Salma asked, "What are you thinking?" Kareem smiled gently. "I am thinking that perhaps my wife was right. The stars are not meant to be counted. They are meant to be noticed." Salma looked up. "Noticed?" "Yes," Kareem said. "Each one is a reminder, not that life is endless, but that light always returns." The wind moved softly through the wheat. The village behind them slept peacefully. Above them the stars shimmered with quiet patience. Kareem turned to Salma. "Thank you," he said. Salma blinked. "For what?" "For sitting with me," Kareem replied. "For turning my counting into companionship." Salma smiled. "Thank you for showing me the stars are more than lights," she said. "They are stories." Kareem nodded. "Yes," he whispered. "They are stories." And from that night on, Kareem still came to the fields, still looked up at the heavens, but he no longer counted because he was lost. He counted because he was grateful. Because each star was a small lantern of memory, a small lantern of hope. And the man who counted the stars every night became known not as a strange old man, but as someone who reminded the village that even in the darkest sky, light is always waiting.